extraordinaire, the GMologist.
What's up, everyone, and welcome to the GMologist Presents. So, yeah, I played a couple games this weekend. So I'll recap them. One was this is kind of a neat kind of contrast. Although, I mean, I feel like so much is bandied about old school versus new school style of play, and maybe there's more bits and bobs in a old school, no, sorry, in a new school type of play, but I don't know. It could also be the GM. So I played in a game. Before I keep rambling on, I played in a game of D&D 5e. Technically, it's a D&D 5e hack, and set in the World of Warcraft universe, and it's called Warcraft Heroes. It's available online. It's a really good hack. I think for us, it captures the feel of the Warcraft game and how the Warcraft game feels for the different classes, which I think is cool. And then on Saturday, I played in our ongoing, I feel like it's almost 3 years. I think it'll be 3 years this January. I'll have to ask Kevin Madison. Our ongoing Astonishing Swordsmen and Sorcerers of Hyperborea game set as called Reavers of Thule. It's set in Kevin's sort of pocket dimension, which are there. It's kind of neat that on this kind of world of Hyperborea, this flat Earth of Hyperborea, there are these pockets where you can sail into the fog or get caught in a storm at sea, and suddenly you're on another continent. And those are actually built into the game. Joe Salvatore wrote a module about one of those little pockets on Hyperborea, and I think Kevin has done something similar. Well, not written the module, but set the campaign in Thule. So I'll talk about that. And they're both forms of D&D, but are they similar or different? I guess you can judge based on my recap. So after that, we got some call-ins from Jason Connerly in response to my barbecue, blackouts, and buggies episode. So here we go. So like I said, Friday night is our ongoing World of Warcraft 5e game called Weird Tales in Westfall. We have not reached Westfall as of yet. I feel like it's been 4 sessions. This was session 5. This is my 3rd session. I think I missed the first 2. So in this session, we finally made it to a town. We did not get attacked. The previous session, we'd actually had a character death. The paladin, Enric, Paladin of the Light, had died, killed ignominiously by carrion bird attack. So, yeah, it wasn't. I don't know. I guess it was heroic from our small point of view, although it was only a TPK because somehow my warlock character Billy Dean stabbed something with a dagger and it actually killed it. If not, it would have been bad day, bad news for Billy Dean. He had like 2 hit points left. We survived. We're joined by a couple other characters. This time, Wendell and Pepperidge are back, and then another player was there with an Elven rogue. Elves are pretty awesome and Haas in World of Warcraft, FYI. Night Elves, at least. I haven't looked at the others. Blood Elves, probably similarly. It'd be fun to, honestly, to recreate, as an aside, it'd be fun to recreate some of my my characters in WoW as these World of Warcraft 5e things. I've done that with Billy Dean in a way. He's a Destruction Warlock. He's only unfortunately, he's only level 31. I hadn't played him in a long time. He's stuck in the teens level, but these last couple weeks has been the WoW 17th anniversary, so you get a bump in leveling, so I've been trying to get my guys to at least level 30 so they can fly around. I hate, honestly, not flying around because you have to deal with all these trash mobs that are just honestly a time sink, a pain in the ass because they're easy to deal with, but just a pain because they get in the way of your objectives, which are the quests. That's how you level, really, not farming mobs per se. But yeah, so this actually still part of the WoW aside. This is what I do when I don't game or work, do my work. But my work is from home right now. The company's based in Chicago, but we're regional managers, so we work from our home as long as it's close to an airport. So yeah, that's what I do. And actually, I've been able to get like a couple characters to 50 or above, and I'm working on trying to get at least one more to 50 or at least to 40 so they can fly fast. It's been it's cool. Anyway, the game, we made it to this tower on the edge of the Elwyn Forest, like at the border, guards the river between that sort nominally guards the river between the Elwyn Forest and Westfall. It is actually a fort, but it's makeshift, surrounded by a wooden stockade. I don't remember the name of it. I should have written it down, but I do know that it is a village of gnomes, or a fort full of gnomes. So Billy Dean was happy. He was able to, spend some coin and resummon a Void Walker, which was nice. And we kind of got a job. All these gnolls, this gnoll incursion is being planned, organized by this powerful gnoll who used to be based in Westfall, but has now moved over to an abandoned fort in the Elwyn Forest named Goldpaw. So hopefully he doesn't touch things and they turn to gold with his paw, like Midas or Goldfinger. Anyway, so we decided to take the job. I mean, we have been beat up and harassed by these giant gnoll forces in the forest, and we need to take care of it. So they give us a boat. We go upriver. We recon the area and plan our attack. The elf Enlil, I think that was the elf's name, snuck in, and I was waiting for him to screw up a stealth roll, but I mean the player's pretty lucky actually. He is no well, yeah, he gets lucky rolls at very opportune times. I'm just gonna say. So it was great that he was able to stealth, was able to climb along the cliff, kind of cool stuff like that. I think the only thing he failed to do was notice a trap, but I feel like it was kind of obvious. Kevin, I would say, no, what's not the word? It's not project, but suggested strongly, hinted at that one of these bridges across into this fort was trapped. So this is kind of neat. So it's kind of neat setup. So this fort is on the base of this gold paw is on an island in the middle of the river, and it's accessed by these kind of rope bridges, one of which looks to be guarded, according to the recon by the elf. He communicates with Wendell through the secret sign language that elves and dwarves have that has been around eternally. And we get ready. When we assault, we secure. Actually, the assault on the bridge was not bad. So Enlil kind of snuck around the back to kind of flank the opposition. we did kind of shake the hornet's nest because we didn't quite kill all of them, or they heard the noise, but we were able to run across the bridge. So it was myself with my Void Walker, whose name is now, it was KJ, now it's LJ, but it's going through I think the player who plays Wendell, Jason Hobbs, said that, man, I wonder what happened to the other 12 right beforehand. So it's pretty funny. It's fun to play with Jason Hobbs, by the way. He always brings a lot to the table and also helps us who like to get into voices and all that kind of stuff direct the action. And although the plans don't always go the way we think about them, it's good to get going, get that direction, chop to the action, right? Instead of the exposition. So we secure the bridge and we get into a fight. There's some like cover, which is kind of neat. I like what Kevin did. He provided like cover these trebuchets. I guess these gnolls are planning. I don't know how the hell they get the trebuchets across the river, but if they're planning, maybe they're just for defense of the fort. Anyway, we're hiding behind these trebuchets. We have like a good bottleneck, so we have a really good fight. We take out the spellcasters quickly, which was something we did not do before. These like Gnoll shamans, we take them out quickly. Combination of bow fire and and gunfire from Wendell and Enlil, something like that. And I'm just doing my DOTs, my warlock DOTs, shooting them with a bolt and then doing some small damage around them. And a good thing too is that the Voidwalker is like holding their position really well. Um, in the last fight, the Voidwalker just got mauled, and this time he was holding the line, taking the minimum damage, and not hitting. It was really weird. So early in the fight, Wendell was blasting away with his gun, and Billy, the Voidwalker at least, wasn't hitting. Um, but later in the fight, like the luck ran out, except it all went to the player who played the Night Elf Rogue. So this big boss comes. We kill two brutes. We kill two spellcasters and a bit of other gnolls. One gnoll runs away and is stupid enough to run across the trap bridge, falling to its death into the river. I actually don't remember the name of the river. Is it the Elwyn River? I don't know. Westfall River. So anyway, so this like boss type comes in. He has like these two axes that have lightning coursing through them, and yeah, the player, like I said, is lucky. That player rolled a crit at a very opportune time and damaged. And what's interesting, so he's a elf rogue, so he can sneak, and he was hidden, and he fired, and he got a sneak attack damage. Or I think anyway, it worked out. So either he had a ally adjacent or something where he got his sneak attack damage and he crit it, so all that sneak attack damage is doubled. So he did a ton of damage to this thing, and then we finished it off with some shots, either a punch from the Voidwalker or some shots from Billy Dean to blast the sky. So we are pretty fortunate. Other gnolls ran away, and I'm sure there's going to have a counterattack, but we have secured the opening position in this fort. And what I think is neat, so there are a lot of character options and character abilities, even at 3rd level in AD&D 5th edition. That's my impression. My character can always do some sort of magical attack because of the cantrips and at-will attacks that I have. So he has like Shadow Bolt and Firebolt. I usually use Shadow Bolt because it does a little bit more damage. And then I have this ability where I can proc, based on my archetype. I can kind of, as a bonus action, cause like a extra damage to anything within 10 feet of shadow or fire damage, which is helpful against like the low level minions, because if they're damaged, then they can slowly take them off, or at least, hey, that's another 3 hit points off, right? That, it's important. Have the Voidwalker that can act as a pseudo tank. I'm not as competent as a player would be, but pretty cool. So we fell back, collected the axes. We haven't decided if we're going to fall back across the river or hold the line here at the trebuchet. It depends if we're able to get a short rest or not. So anyway, that was the World of Warcraft 5e. It was really fun. It was very tenuous. I'm sure there are spots there where one or two of the players said, "We're done. We're going to get mauled. We're going to die here." But we did not. We succeeded. There was a rally, and that was kind of neat. So the next game that I played was also with Kevin Madison of the Dungeon Musings Media Empire. It's a YouTube channel. Oh, as a side, it's kind of cool. I went to this. So I attend Flying Saucer a lot, and I went to this what's called a plate party. So it's a group that invited us to their plate party. When you hit 200 beers, you get a tab on the house. It can range from $150 to $200, and and then you put your plate up on the ceiling, or you can do this multiple times. So like my wife and I actually have 16 plates each. You can calculate how much beer we've had to drink for that. But at plate 10, Flying Saucer sent us to the Great American Beer Festival on their dime, which was a great experience. So, and they were good to us too. We got a lot of exclusives because the owners of Flying Saucer have always been big into the craft beer scene and industry, and we got exclusives to various breweries, including Epic, Great Divide, Deschutes, and Avery. So great stuff. You may or may not, if you're a beer aficionado, you may or may not know those brewery names. All are based in Denver, Colorado. So anyway, I met a guy who I normally I play in another game on Sunday. This is before I get into Ash. I put in a game of Cult, Divinity Lost on Sunday, where I play Joey Novak, a bookie living in Detroit. If you can imagine, in the film version, he would be played by Steve Buscemi. So I mentioned this game, and this guy and his wife said, "Oh yeah, we run that game, really like it." And then they've heard of both Dungeon Musings and Hobbs and Friends. So very cool. And I told them about the Geomologist Present. So maybe I'll have a few more listeners. We'll see. Maybe they've listened or not. I invited this guy to the Discord, to the Audio Dungeon Discord, and then to the Geomologist Lab. So cool. It's great to, when we talk about our games and people over here, they get excited and they want to share their war stories too. Although that's a problem. I noticed that I know I tell a lot of war stories. I mean, hence these recaps. But you gotta, when you get excited about a game and you want to tell your war story, you gotta sit back and listen to someone else's war story also, right? So keep them up. I would love to hear when you all call in to give me some more stories about past games or games that you're playing. I don't mind that at all. I love listening to recaps from BJ Boyd or what have you, or other recaps from the people that give recaps, right? So on their podcast. So, or hey, if you're a caller of mine and you don't have a podcast, call in and give me a war story, whether or not it's a game that I ran or you played that I ran or didn't run. So on to Ash. So we are recuperating from the assault against CTEC, and we had all this loot. We had another player join us back. You might know him as George Straighton. He's done a lot of work for both D&D and Star Wars. So he's doing a lot of screenwriting right now. So you will see him now and again with some screenwriting credit, which is hella cool. So we have someone kind of famous playing with us, which is nice. So I guess he's in the public, so he's cool with us talking about him, maybe. So anyway, so he joined us after a long time just out on, doing work. So it was good to have him back. We were able to give him a couple magic items that we had collected that were just totally themed for his character. And this is good. I mean, I think loot division is sometimes contentious among players, and this one I thought might have been starting to be, but I think we're all cool. We played with each other in this game for almost 3 years, so I think everyone's cool with everything, and I think everything was equitably distributed. So it was cool. So it was neat. So we're recuperating in the Toad Skipper Village. We're studying spells once again. So I could not learn Detect Magic when I was 6th level, and in the rules you can try again when you level up. I still failed to learn Detect Magic, and I have a 75% chance. But I did learn Dispel Magic, which is good, and I think another 1st level spell. I don't remember which 1st level spell I took. I took another 1st level spell, I think. I think we had enough time to do that because he gave us 2 weeks or 15 days. So during that time, the non-spellcaster who wasn't studying spells, so there's 3 spellcasters in the group right now, so we're all studying spells. And the rule's kind of cool. It's not bad. It's 3 days per level, so we were able to study a 3rd level spell and then 2 1st level spells. I think that's what we did. So that was cool. And then the other player was kind of going on hunting parties and helping out the Toad Skippers as best they could. And they came upon I guess a monster had come into the area, and and you know what, we love the Toad Skippers. We have a great relationship with them. They helped to find our scattered group when we did this failed miserably beach assault and the cult of Cetex Island. Um, so we feel obligated to them. So we decided to go out and help them and hunt this monster. Iphigenia figured out that it was based on the tracks and the patterns that she saw out in the woods when we were tracking, that it was a behir. So these are dragon-like creatures that have multiple legs and they shoot lightning, which is interesting. I don't know if Kevin did this on purpose, um, but we have a lot of lightning in the group. Um, so we realized, well, we guess we're not gonna be able to use lightning, but now we have fire because George is there, right? So George's character Malo is there, and he's also a warlock, but sort of fire pyromancer based, while his mind is. So we have a pyromancer, a necromancer, and a cryomancer walk into the bar. That's kind of our group. My character is a necromancer, Amazonian warlock, Iphigenia Acantadoros. 7th level, by the way, which is pretty impressive, considering we start at first level with these characters. So this is all like legit, right? The legit level progression. And I'm sure I know I've missed a few games here and there, and I probably shorted myself some XP. But hey, man, 7th level. I guess what's crazy is that the next level, 8th level, is 196,000. But anyway, so we track the beast to its lair. Malo volunteers to go in. We can the cryomancer, whose name is escaping me right now, can cast invisibility on him. So he sneaks in there, and he kind of shakes the nest. He finds that there's like babies, kind of. You remember like in Dragon Slayer where there's like baby dragons? Yeah, they're like baby behirs. So he says, "Uh-oh, they smell me," because that seems like what happened, or they might have blind sense. I'm not sure. I did refrain from looking up the monster in the book during play, so I didn't. And it's hard, but I made a good roll, so we know that it uses lightning. It's probably immune to lightning, and it was really big. It can probably swallow you whole. It has lots of little claw attacks, like that centipede like weird body, but it's reptilian. But we did not know about the babies, but they seem to sense Malo, and he chucked a fireball. I think he was able to chuck 2 fireballs because he got a surprise round, and then we won initiative. So he chucked 2 fireballs, killed all but one. But then, of course, as they scream in their death throes, the mama hears it, and then this huge behir kind of comes out, and Malo gets munched on or taken down by shots of lightning from the little ones before the second fireball, and the mama bites him and tosses him aside. We're able to run down there. In the meantime, we waited at the entrance to the cave and engage it. I attempted to use Vampiric Touch. It was not as satisfying as I would have liked. I'd rolled really. I mean, I could have done up to 18 points of damage on this creature and transferred that to me. I did 5. So on 3d6, I rolled 5 points. 5 points. So it was a very underwhelming Vampiric Touch. But then now I'm in the melee, and it had actually, on our approach to this creature, much like we like to line up monsters, we lined up perfectly. So Kevin could have the behir shoot the lightning bolt down the line and get all of us. Thard, that's the name of the cryomancer, was pretty beat up, down to like 3 hit points. And Iphigenia was like down to half their hit points, about 20, 25. But we close. Ammar and Iphigenia fight side by side, as they have been doing for this last quarter, it seems. Always partners in the melee. And Ammar is just not hitting. Eventually pulls out his ray gun. But Iphigenia with this mind blade, this mind bender sword, man, in a way, it's for old school game, it is kind of ridiculous. So she's 7th level, right? So it's a Thaco, if you think about it. She's 7th level, 18 strength. So that's +7 for the level off the Thaco of 20, +2 for their strength with the 18 strength. So it's +2/+3 in this game, and then the blade is a +4 blade. So that's, what is that? 9 + 4 is 13, and yeah, so it's +13 to hit for this item or with this item. So she's gonna hella hit a lot, which I think is great. And even next level is gonna be even worse because she's gonna get a extra +1 for being able to have a new weapon specialty. And then instead of attacking one and then two, she'll be able to attack twice around with the mind blade. And it can cast Feeble Mind on spellcasters X number of times per day. That's what it's called, the Mind Blade. But she's going to town. I don't think I missed it all. And then the damage, of course, is it's 1d8 +7, which is pretty damn significant. So I don't think I missed the creature, and I kept hitting it. And we really had a good use of magic items. I think that is maybe a key difference. And that is probably part of the philosophy, which just gets to my point, right? Comparing and contrasting different forms of D&D. I feel like although Kevin is very generous with magic items, he has a lot of books he loves to use, and he likes to customize magic items, which is something that I have taken to use in my games. I love customization of magic items. Like, this magic item means something. Like, I do that in my DCC game. We have the Thrice Cursed Sword, or the Sword of the Moonblade Kings, and then this, the Luck of Cassadia blade that we just kind of developed recently in the game, for example. And I really like magic items that are customized, or that are not, you're from the list type. And Kevin loves to do that. And he's very generous in both games. But it seems like in 5e, there's less of a dependency on the use of magic items, whereas in this old AD&D game, we have a lot of magic items, and when we're running into battle, we have these consumable magic items, like this thing called the Leech, which we put in the back of our neck, and it gives us -1 to AC, a DR of 2. A DR is really important in this game, and it lasts for X number of rounds. So that saved Iphigenia's bacon for sure, because she has a DR of 3, the DR stack. She's wearing lamellar scale armor. So, there's this thing is scratching at her. It's only doing 1 or 2 points of damage. So, and then a Vampiric Touch, hey, 5 points. That lasted like a round or two. So that really helped. We have, so anyway, so we were going to town with this thing. The funny thing and the tension wasn't really fighting the beast. It was like the little baby that was still alive dragging Malo's body back to feed on it. So Malo had stabilized, so it's a cool rule in Ash that up to -3, you're stable. You don't bleed out. After -3, you start bleeding out. So then Sard is running to try to find him in the dark. Iphigenia is really they have like a little bit of light, these guys, but Iphigenia is really the only who can see, because she has a ring that lets her, again, it's a magic item, a ring that lets her see, cast infravision underground and on herself, and she can see in the dark. So she's going, they're taking Malo, go get him. So Sard goes after him. We defeat the beast. Iphigenia runs to Malo, and we use another magic item. It's called a Vampiric Sponge, where I sacrifice some of my hit points to equal 3 healing points to the target. So yeah, I think that's actually a very interesting difference. That while the feel, although Ash has its own feel, we're shooting ray guns at a dragon, right? That's what Amar was doing. He shot the dragon a couple times with his ray gun. So while next to him, Iphigenia is stabbing it with a traditional, I don't know how it's rolled up as a broadsword. So I don't know. I feel like the way I imagine the blade, it's like one of those basket-hilt broadswords, kind of like a claymore, not the two-handed claymore from the anachronistic Braveheart, but just a claymore like from Rob Roy with the basket hilt. So that's how I imagine it. Maybe Kevin imagines it differently, but it's a longsword type, and it's a broadsword by name. So it's pretty cool. And we defeated the Behir, and there's a lot of treasure to be split now, because it is a dragon after all. So again, right, so we're going to have leftover items, and there's it's hard to figure out how to, what do I want. So now I have this cool Lamello armor, but now can I get an upgrade with some of the armor that was presented? There's definitely a Malo scimitar in there, which looks like it could be extremely game changing because the crit range is increased. Yeah, that was something that we had commented on. Oh man, it's a 19. I rolled a 19. I didn't roll a crit. I rolled a 19 against the Bahir at one point. I'm like, oh man, too bad I don't have an extended crit range like in 3.5. So anyway, so I guess that's my take home, and maybe you can comment on that. In the older games, is it more dependent on the magic that you get, and it was that a design change philosophy in like 4E and 5E probably, because the magic items right used to go up to +5, they only go up to +3, and there's not as much of a dependency. You have this proficiency stat in 5E as well. So, and it's your abilities. So you have all these like abilities, bonus actions that can proc, or you can use when you're attacking, right? So like a great bonus action that NLL had, the elf in the 5e game, was that he could hide. So that's one of my cunnings. I'm going to be cunning and hide, and then that helps when he shoots down the boss and rolls a crit, because now everything is doubled with the sneak attack. So, which is everything is relying on your abilities. And none of us have magic items, right? So, and now we do with this battle axe that we are taking from the boss. But yeah, I think that's pretty cool. I mean, the same thing with like the hunter, man. That did a marksman hunter, and he has these little abilities that he can use, and he has like there's like a resource. Like all the players for the most part have like a resource. Warlocks don't really need to, but the players have. I guess there's no soul shard thing yet. Maybe in later and higher levels you get the soul shard thing, because that's what, like in the game, the mechanic in WoW is that you use lesser spells, lesser attacks, and they accumulate soul shards, and then you fire your, like for example, my Billy Dean, who's a destruction warlock, uses that to power his chaos bolt. It does more damage the more soul shards you have, and then my demonologist is more interesting use of soul shards. He can shoot down this fireball, which explodes, and then these imps come and they do extra DOTs. Or I can use my shards to summon Dreadstalkers, or now like a Fell Beast or something like that. It's pretty cool, actually. the Demonologist is really fun. That's my Demonologist is a blood elf named Illicidor, related to Elizabeth, my main demon hunter, level 60 main on that horde side. So anyway, those are the differences I see playing these two games back to back. Both were really fun, and I really enjoyed Kevin's games. Kevin, I will say, state for the record, and you can go check the tape. I should have marked the tape. You can go check the tape. He does say, I love having, because George and myself and the other player plays Amar, and yeah, also the player who plays Sard. We're all GMs, and he says, and Kevin said, I don't mind having a backseat GM, because sometimes I flub the rules and I like to have someone maybe to point things out. And we trust Kevin enough that we don't mouth off to him during the game. But if we say, hey, later after we stop recording, we say, hey, can you check that rule out? And usually he does. He'll come back and post in the Discord, oops, I messed up there. Like I think he should have given advantage more for the elf, for example, when he was sneaky and stealthy. But anyway, it was a very cool set of sessions. We weren't able to play Cult this weekend. Technical difficulties that Kevin had, but he will fix them, I hope, for the next time when we play Cult, which will be in 2 weeks. And I can get my Steve Buscemi actor chops in. So, well, this is a segment for the recaps. So now we'll go on to the calls. And they're all from Jason Connerly.
Hey, Carl, just listen to your latest episode. You definitely should not try to podcast while you're driving. Don't record while you drive. Who does that? It's a horrible habit to have. I do not condone that at all. Anyway, Yeah, so I'll readily admit the barbecue place in San Antonio, the places in San Antonio when I visited you are better than the ones local where I'm at. And sides are definitely something that they drop the ball on here locally. So I do need to get back out to San Antonio if I only do a restaurant tour, do a vacation out there, or just hitting different restaurants every day. As far as the whole Pantheon thing goes, what I was asking was in Marvel, in theory, your gods are just space aliens, right? So how are they imbuing the clerics with power? Was my question. How did just space aliens imbue them with power?
I'm going to reply to these each because Jason titled them differently and they talk about different topics. So, yes, Jason, come to San Antonio, South Texas. We will do a barbecue tour. I feel like we will need to, not that we'll be drinking so much, but we'll be eating so much. We probably will need to get a Lyft or an Uber as we go around to these various places, um, or just rent a driver in a van, a limo, I don't know, because we would be in a food coma if we went up to Lockhart and hit a few places. So I've been up to Smitty's, to Kurtz, and to Blacks in Lockhart. Man, you know what? I think I'm going to give links to all these places I talk about in the show notes. Um, Barbecue joints in and around South Texas. Um, the other, and then now 2M. I really enjoyed 2M a lot. And then you and I went to Two Brothers. So, yeah, that's at least 5 places I have to find links for. Okay, well, that's fine, I guess. Um, yeah, that's a good question. I guess that's a question that you meant. How would clerics get their power if the I guess the GM would have to figure that out, or right, the clerics get their power, or it's all like divine magic is the same as arcane magic, and it comes from the same source. It's not from the space aliens, but the space aliens have found either a way to um, con their worshippers that uh, the power comes from them, or they have the technology to act as conduits for this cosmic power that they then channel or able to channel to their followers, worshippers, devotees. That's a very interesting question, and it could be the focus behind a big campaign, right? So, what? How does this happen? Does it matter how it happens? Maybe it does to the Arcana scholar who scoffs at the gods. But yeah, I think it's a pretty interesting question and a topic.
Yeah. So if that makes sense, the um, as far as what else did you talk about? I didn't realize Starfinder was like Sims or Civilization, or like the Roller Coaster Tycoon or something. That's what it sounds like you guys are playing, which is great if everybody's having fun. It's just not what I expected it to be. Wow. As far as Blackout and Crater Valley, the DCC funnel, so both the other group that I ran only lost 2 characters. And I really do think after running it twice that there are a couple things that should be upped for the lethality. Because ideally, I don't know. I'll fiddle with it some more. I definitely hope to run it a few more times and get some more under the belt. But it's a fun adventure, and the funnel works great for these horror movies like that. So I'm really glad we did it, and hopefully we can play something similar in the future. By the way, I probably didn't express this enough. I really had fun running the DCC funnel, Blackout and Crater Valley, and you guys did a great job. So did the other group. Don't get me wrong; both groups did a great job, but I really enjoyed it because the players really got into it. They really got into role playing each of their 4 characters and getting into the personalities and the '80s references like you talked about. What I should have done is cued some '80s music in the background. Well, I mean, in theory, during that game, it's blackout, right? So there's nothing, but still, it was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed running it, and I'm looking forward to the Ninja City game I'm going to run, doing '80s ninja stuff for a couple of you guys later in December. So that'll be a lot of fun too. Anyhow, Carl, I'll talk to you later. Bye.
The sim, as you call it, or what is it called? The charter turn or charter play is just a small aspect of the game. They go out, and as you probably listen to, I hope you listen to, go out and explore and get into trouble. There's problems in the settlement itself, but maybe that's kind of sim-like. I'm not sure. Depends how much you think intrigue and role playing is part of a game, or is that more of a simulation. But the charter turn is a small aspect. It's a mini game. Pathfinder, Paizo in their Pathfinder and Starfinder games likes to throw these mini games in, and this one is charter development. In the past, like in Kingmaker, they had kingdom development, which was also this kind of, you know, codification, modification of how you built your kingdom and the various settlements in the kingdom. And we had like when I ran Kingmaker, we had these like spreadsheets of this crap. So and some players got into it initially and then just didn't really like it eventually, and it kind of, I think I had to do it, or me and one player did it behind the scenes, something like that. Um, so that's why in this game I'm trying to incentivize it by giving players XP for the charter turn, and I think I set it at like 100 XP per level of the PC, right? So each PC gets, in this case, their second level, they each get 200 XP on top of what they do during the session. So that can help, and it'll increase as the players go up in level. So that encourages continuous charter development and play. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. I mean, during the course of the adventure, things could change, right? Yeah, it's kind of neat. It'd be kind of cool to compare how we did with how the other group did and what happened. I think Joe Richter asked that question too. It'd be kind of fun to compare notes. But I mean, I had a lot of fun. I mean, I know the session went a little long, maybe longer than you had wanted, but I mean, we kind of got into it, you know. And we're playing 4 characters each, and you want each of them to have their own personality. So I really like that aspect of it. I still think it'd be fun to have a, you know, Black Crater campaign, right? Call it Black Crater Dogs. You know, Korgus survived. That's awesome.
Yeah, as far as the panel discussion, we just need to schedule time when we can get everybody together. Let's get on the Discord and figure that out. I'm all for it. You know, if we came out once a month with a panel show or something, that'd be wonderful. So, anyhow, I hope everything's going well, and I will talk to you soon. Take care.
So the panel discussion is coming. It's been scheduled. So listen for that in the near future. It's going to be about shared verse and how we would proceed to do that. I hope we have an agenda and we don't just ramble on. I think Jason would be a good moderator for that. At least I'm volunteering him to be moderator. Right, so I think that's it. You know, thanks Jason for the calls. Thank you all for listening. You can always drop me a message at through Anchor, or send me a message at geomologist@gmail.com. I think we'll thank also TJ Drennan for the music, and his riffs will now take you out.